In this video, I would be discussing with you 60 days plan to crack, to clear, to dominate RBI Grade B 2022 exam. And yes, I would also be giving you 60 days day-wise plan so that it is crystal clear to you that how can you proceed towards your goal. But before I get into the details, now since the notification is out, the very common question in everybody's mind is whether I shall give this exam or not. And the reason for this question is it possible to clear the exam in next 3 months? In my view, this question itself is wrong. Rather, you shall be asking, can I clear the exam in next 3 months? Because if I have to say, is it possible? It is definitely possible. Hundreds of people have done it in the past. So can you. But can you crack this exam in the next 3 months? The answer lies that how do you approach towards this exam. एक अप्रोच है कि आप बुक्स, न्यूज़पेपर्स और एन नंबर ऑफ अदर रिसोर्सेज इकट्ठे करते रहें विदाउट एनी नॉलेज ऑफ द स्कोप और द काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस आस्क्ड इन द एग्जाम. नेवर. दिस वे यू आर नेवर गोना मेक इट. दूसरा तरीका है कि आप एग्जाम के स्कोप को अंडरस्टैंड करें. फर्स्ट इज स्कोप को अंडरस्टैंड करें. व्हाट इज द स्कोप ऑफ द एग्जाम? राइट, यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड दिस by going through the comprehensive syllabus. Second is you understand the type of questions that are asked in the exam so that you are clear that till what depth you need to understand each and every topic. उसके लिए आपको क्या चाहिए? PYQs. And the third is a proper organized study plan. That is what I am going to give you. तो तीसरी चीज तो आपको यहाँ पे इस वीडियो में मिल ही रही है. बट टू अंडरस्टैंड द स्कोप एंड द PYQs, I would suggest that you visit the EduTap website, and there the syllabus and the PYQs for the past 5 years along with solutions are available free of cost. तो इसको ज़रूर जाइए, फ़ायदा उठाइए, अच्छे से देखिए एंड डिसाइड बाय योरसेल्फ. क्या आपको लगता है उस पेपर को देख के दैट इज इट इन योर रेंज? इफ यस, go for it. Why? Because मैं आपको एक और चीज बताना चाहता हूं that even if you don't make it, let's consider that case. It is possible that you don't make it, but think about the gains even if you lose. You study for next 3 months, right? And when you have a target or a goal in front of you कि 28 मई को पेपर है, 25 जून को पेपर है, you will be able to cover so many things in such a less time that would otherwise not be possible. ठीक है, तो आप इतनी जल्दी इतनी चीजें कर पाएंगे, you will be so much productive, because otherwise we are so lazy that we are not able to cover these things even in next 6 months. तो आपका इसमें फायदा है. And even if you reach the interview stage, the experience you get there, out of this total process, if you get to know that what are your weaknesses, what are your strengths, where did you go right, where did you go wrong, it is immensely going to help you in the next cycle. देखिए, सक्सेस ऐसे एक दिन में नहीं आता है. कईयों को मिल भी जाता है, कईयों को वेट भी करना पड़ता है, एंड देयर इज लॉट ऑफ स्वेट बिहाइंड एवरी सक्सेस. तो सिर्फ ये सोचकर एग्जाम देना या ना देना डिसाइड मत कीजिए दैट अगर मैं क्रैक करूंगा मैं तभी दूंगा. और भी बहुत सारे फैक्टर्स हैं, एंड आई एम नॉट आस्किंग यू टू से एनरोल इनटू एनी ऑफ द कोर्सेज. मे बी यू कैन आल्सो डू सेल्फ प्रिपरेशन सो दैट एटलीस्ट यू लर्न आउट ऑफ दिस प्रोसेस. ठीक है, चलो अब हम स्ट्रैटेजी के बारे में डिस्कस करते हैं. बट आई एम वेरी श्योर कि जो मैंने दो चीजें पिछली स्लाइड में बताई हैं आप उसके बारे में सोचेंगे और सोचने के बाद ही डिसीजन लेंगे. और अगर आपका डिसीजन है कि मुझे ये एग्जाम देना है, द फर्स्ट थिंग that you need to avoid is problem of plenty. When you start preparing for RBI Grade B, everybody will tell you an idealistic plan that go for FM, ESI, current affairs, quant, reasoning, English, descriptive writing, everything. But let me tell you guys, this is just aspirational plan कि मैं इतना अगले 3-2 महीने में कर लूंगा. But that is not possible. By doing all these things, you might be very busy, but ultimately you will not be productive. So let's talk about something realistic. वो realistic क्या है? This is what I feel is a realistic plan, though obviously it can be customized based upon your background, maybe बेस्ड अपॉन योर प्रिपरेशन फॉर अदर एग्जाम्स, बट मेरे हिसाब से ये चीज़ें आप कर सकते हैं जो आपकी स्क्रीन के सामने है, टू हैव अ रियलिस्टिक preparation for your RBI Grade B. So before phase 1, I would say quant reasoning, English and current affairs for both phase 1 and phase 2. The key here is that we don't have to cover current affairs only for phase 1, because now there is no difference between current affairs for phase 1 and phase 2. Reports, schemes, RBI notifications are also being asked in phase 1. ठीक है, तो मुझे करंट अफेयर्स बोथ फेज 1 एंड फेज 2 के फेज 1 से पहले ही कर लेने हैं, सो दैट आफ्टर फेज 1 आई डोंट हैव टू बॉदर अबाउट माय करंट अफेयर्स. एंड इन एडिशन टू दैट आई जस्ट want you to spend some time on finance and management. You might be thinking, sir, finance and management is only in phase 2, why should I be covering it right now? Again the answer is, guys, realistic plan है, लेकिन ऐसा बोगस प्लान भी नहीं देना है कि फेज 1 तो क्लियर हो जाए और फेज 2 में जाकर सब सपाट नहीं. वी हैव टू at least touch phase 2 at some level, so that after phase 1 still our chances are पॉजिटिव. अगर आप FM अभी नहीं करेंगे, सब कुछ फेज 1 के बाद छोड़ देंगे, देन इट माइट बी रियली डिफिकल्ट टू कवर सो मच ऑफ थिंग्स बिटवीन दोज 30 डेज. तो इतना हमें फेज 1 तक करना है. बिटवीन फेज 1 एंड फेज 2 डिस्क्रिप्टिव राइटिंग कैन बी मैनेज्ड. आई नो यू माइट नॉट हैव रिटन एनी आंसर till now, but that is our best chance. We will manage it after phase 1. Descriptive English can be managed. Economics and social issues can be managed because it is mostly based upon current affairs, which we are already covering before phase 1. Revision of FM and revision of current affairs you need to do between phase 1 and phase 2. ठीक है, and this plan I always say has to be executed थ्रू आर्ट ऑफ डूइंग लिमिटेड थिंग्स. अगर आपने इतनी चीजें भी करनी है, अगर आप उनको डेली करने लग जाएंगे, it is going to be really difficult. So we have to pick up few things on daily basis, right, and execute them, because I totally believe in art of doing limited things. By doing this, you can focus on limited set of subjects, you can be more productive, you can be more satisfied with your performance, and not to forget that you will also be having better retention by following the art of doing limited things, which I would be discussing in this video as we proceed ahead. तो सर ये कैसे एक रियलिस्टिक प्लान है, क्योंकि फेज 1 से पहले भी हमें बहुत कुछ करना है. क्या हम ये सब कर पाएंगे? बिल्कुल कर पाएंगे. बिटवीन 28th March एंड 28th May you have 61 days. 61 days में you can do anything provided you are determined and you really have burning desire inside you कि करना है तो रिजर्व बैंक में ही जॉब करना है, right? So in 61 days, or to say 9 weeks, even if you spend 4 hours a day, it is perfectly possible to execute this plan. I am not asking you to say spend 10 hours a day or 12 hours a day. सिर्फ 4 घंटे देने हैं, पर हर रोज देने हैं. शादी है, फंक्शन है, doesn't matter. I have to spend my 4 hours a day. So this plan is perfectly executable even by working aspirants. अब सर ठीक है, बताइए इसको और रियलिस्टिक कैसे बना सकते हैं? तो मैंने आपको बताया आपके पास 9 वीक्स हैं, सो आई विल बी गिविंग यू वीक वाइज डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन सो दैट यू हैव फर्दर क्लैरिटी के हर वीक में क्या करना है. ठीक है, सबसे पहले वीक 1 to वीक 4 मैं अभी हाई लेवल प्लान बता रहा हूं. डे वाइज प्लान आपको बाद में बताऊंगा कहां से मिलेगा. From week 1 to week 4, what you have to do is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday you have to read current affairs. ठीक है, करंट अफेयर्स में क्या क्या पढ़ना है, दैट आई वुड बी टेलिंग यू लेटर. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday you have to focus on QRE, because QRE can be really challenging for some, especially if you're weak in even one of quant or reasoning. You have to put your hard work together to manage that. And Friday, Saturday and Sunday I am asking you to do FM, which can be managed. Many of you would be having weekends. Friday को किसी तरह मैनेज करो, जल्दी आओ, छुट्टी लो. थोड़ा तो आपको अपनी जॉब को भी मैनेज करना पड़ेगा if you are a working aspirant. So if you see, I put FM only in the first 4 weeks because I know after 4 weeks, that is when around about May starts, you will not have any time to study FM. It would be really difficult to spend time on FM. तो पहले 4 weeks में ही हम Friday, Saturday, Sunday FM पढ़ेंगे, उसके बाद हम नहीं पढ़ेंगे, right? So this is what we are gonna do in week 1 to week 4, and then from week 5 to week 7, again we are going to repeat the same. On Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday we are going to read current affairs. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday we are going to do QRE, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday instead of FM that we were doing from week 1 to week 4, we will do current affairs. ठीक है। और वीक 8 और 9 में रिवीजन करेंगे, साथ में वी विल गिव एफएलटीज। एफएलटीज आप पहले भी दे सकते हैं, राइट। और एफएलटीज का इतना बोझ मत मानिए। इवन इफ यू कैन सॉल्व 5 एफएलटीज ऑफ वेरी डिफिकल्टी लेवल्स बिफोर योर एग्जाम, आई थिंक इट्स गुड, इट्स डिसेंट। 15-20 करके कोई ज्यादा फायदा नहीं होगा, बट अ लॉजिकल फिगर कैन बी 10 इफ यू कैन मैनेज देम, ठीक है। बट डोंट गिव एफएलटीज बिफोर कवरिंग एटलीस्ट 70% ऑफ योर सिलेबस, because then it will not solve the purpose for which we give FLTs, right? So ये एक week wise distribution है, and if I collate it together, what I am giving you is that for current affairs you get 30 days, right? If you calculate, you will get 30 days into 4 hours a day, 120 hours for current affairs. For QRE again 30 into 4, 120 hours, and for FM you will have 12 days into 4 hours, 48 hours, ठीक है। तो करंट अफेयर्स और क्यूआरई 120 hours, guys. What cannot be done in 120 hours, provided again that you understand the scope and the type of questions, and when you study you don't feel distracted. मोबाइल को छोड़ दो, दरवाजा बंद करो, फंक्शन छोड़ दो, सारे थॉट्स, नेगेटिव थॉट्स बाहर निकाल दो, and concentrate on what you are doing. I can bet in 120 hours current affairs can be managed, they can be hammered, they can be nailed, ठीक है। चलिए अब कंपोनेंट वाइज डिस्कस करते हैं क्वांट रीजनिंग इंग्लिश को कैसे किया जाए। सबसे पहले इंग्लिश तो सी आई वोंट सजेस्ट एनी स्ट्रैटेजी, यू जस्ट ट्राई टू गिव एज मेनी सेक्शनल टेस्ट एज यू कैन। इंग्लिश कैन नॉट बी लर्नड एट दिस स्टेज नाउ, it can only be done better through mock test. Now what about quant and reasoning? Lot of people have a query, sir, we are weak in quant or reasoning, how to manage that, how to manage the cutoffs in quant and reasoning. I have a very simple funda. You need to look upon quant and reasoning from two angles. First is, agar aap quant dekhein, you are getting 30 marks, that is 30 questions in 25 minutes. In reasoning you are getting 60 questions in 45 minutes. First, the level of quant and reasoning is tough in the exam, or at least moderate in the exam. तो आप 30-25 मिनट में you will not be able to do 30 questions. What even a good guy, इंटेलिजेंट को तो छोड़ दीजिए, वो कुछ भी कर सकता है, आइंस्टाइन भी है इस वर्ल्ड में, बट इन 25 मिनट्स एन एवरेज गाय वुड नॉट बी एबल टू सॉल्व मोर देन 12 क्वेश्चंस. इतना डिफिकल्टी लेवल आता है. And even in reasoning, and I think in these 45 minutes out of 60 you will not be able to solve them around 30 questions, an average guy. ठीक है. तो हमें सारे क्वेश्चन नहीं करने हैं. सबसे पहले मैं आपको यही समझा रहा हूं कि हमें एग्जाम में सारे क्वेश्चन तो नहीं करने हैं. वी हैव टू डू नियर अबाउट से एट द मैक्स 50% इन क्वांट एंड रीजनिंग. तो हमें सारे टॉपिक्स करने की जरूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज व्हाट people start doing is they start studying every topic. Say if you are weak in quant, how can you cover each and every topic in the next say 2 months? I mean, on the contrary, you should try to pick up some topics, master those topics, practice hard on those topics, and you can easily solve these 12-13 questions which anybody at the max will be able to solve, right? Or again, another point that I want you to look upon is the cutoffs. आप क्वांट में देखिए मैक्सिमम कट ऑफ कितनी गई है, 7.5. रीजनिंग में देखें पिछले 5 साल में द मैक्सिमम कट ऑफ इज 15. तो अगेन विद रिस्पेक्ट टू सेक्शनल कट ऑफ भी यू आर नॉट हैविंग एनी रिस्क. अगर आप यहाँ पे 12 क्वेश्चंस करने की कैपेबिलिटी बना लें रीजनिंग में, इफ यू हैव द कैपेबिलिटी टू सॉल्व 30 क्वेश्चंस, यू विल इजीली मैनेज टू क्लियर द कट ऑफ्स. ठीक है. बट हाँ, यहाँ पे मैं एक डिस्क्लेमर दूंगा दैट if you are just managing to clear cutoff in one of the sections, say quant or reasoning, or maybe in both the sections, you need to compensate in other sections to clear the overall cutoff, क्योंकि एक overall cutoff भी है, उसके लिए तो आपको ज़्यादा marks चाहिए. So maybe if you are weak in quant and reasoning, you need to make up for that in GA. But quant reasoning weak होना is not the reason for you giving up. ठीक है. So ये strategy अपनाइए. First of all, analyze the previous year papers that I have already told you. Then select the doable topics which in which you have natural aptitude, which basically you feel interested in, and then practice hard on them. Practice lot of questions of various types, and then apply this overall strategy. जो मैंने overall strategy आपको बताई है, that you will solve around 12 questions from selected topics in the exam in quant and 30 in reasoning. Apply this strategy in the sectional mock test and the full length mock test. And what I mean by applying this strategy, that if you pick up a sectional test of quant of 30 questions, do not try to solve those 30 questions. You are never gonna do it. And even after the test, don't try to solve the remaining questions. Just try to apply this strategy where in 25 minutes in quant you will try to solve the 12 questions related to the topics you have practiced hard. ठीक है, इस स्ट्रैटेजी को बार बार अपनाएंगे, यू विल गेन अ लॉट ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस एंड यू विल बी एबल टू डू बेटर इन द एग्जाम ऑल्सो. तो ये क्यूआरई के बारे में मैंने आपको ब्रीफ बताया बिकॉज दैट्स अ स्ट्रैटेजी विच कैन बी adopted by even the weakest of the students. Now moving on to the current affairs. Now this is something very crucial to your selection, irrespective of whether this is your weak area or strong area, because in current affairs, which is worth 80 marks, you have to do well, and it is something in which 80 marks can be scored in just around 15 to 20 minutes. So who would not want to do good in current affairs? तो 120 घंटे हैं हमारे पास current affairs के लिए. हम कैसे करें? सबसे पहले तो हमें ये जानना है कि what are the different components in current affairs that I would be required to read, और कितने महीने के करंट अफेयर्स मुझे पढ़ने हैं हर कंपोनेंट के लिए, और कितना टाइम देना है उन करंट अफेयर्स को पढ़ने के लिए. सो द कंपोनेंट्स दैट यू वुड बी रिक्वायर्ड टू रीड राइट फॉर योर एग्जाम आर फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर्स, आरबीआई नोटिफिकेशंस, रिपोर्ट्स एंड इंडाइसेस, गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स, स्टैटिक जीए, ESI current affairs, and phase 1 journal awareness. Don't be confused. I would be elaborating on all these components. और मैंने पहले भी बताया है, when you read current affairs through all these components, prepare them as you are preparing for phase 2, because there is no separate preparation of current affairs for phase 1 now. I am repeating that multiple times, but just to make sure that you get the message. Right. So ये सारे components हैं जो हमें करने हैं, और कितने महीनों के करने हैं और कितने दिनों में करने हैं, दैट ऑल्सो आई वुड बी टेलिंग यू. वट एवर कम्स इन फेज 2, जो भी फेज 2 में आ रहा है, दैट यू नीड टू डू फॉर 9 months. जो सिर्फ फेज 1 में आ रहा है वो आपको सिर्फ 5 महीने के लिए करना है. सो फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर आई हैव रिटन 5 + 4 months, दैट इज 5 months फॉर फेज 1 बट एडिशनल 4 months फॉर फेज 2, so it becomes 9 months for overall preparation. RBI notifications again 5 months for phase 1 but additional 4 months for phase 2. Reports and indices same, 5 months for phase 1, 4 months for phase 2. Government schemes 5 months for phase 1, additional 4 months for phase 2. Static GA 5 months. आप सोच रहे होंगे सर स्टैटिक जीए तो स्टैटिक है, उसमें मंथ्स कहाँ से आ गए? I'll tell you later. ESI current affairs 5 months for phase 1, 4 months for phase 2, and phase 1 journal awareness, which is common like awards, summits, conferences, for 5 months, because this is not part of phase 2. So again, to summarize, whatever only comes in phase 1, that is for 5 months, and whatever comes in phase 1 and phase 2, that you have to do 5 + 4, that is total of 9 months. Ideally, I would suggest to complete these 9 months before your phase 1 itself, because then you will not have much time after phase 1. But still, if you get a lot of difficulties, you're not able to manage your time, you can feel relaxed by thinking that at least you shall be able to cover the 5 months which are the only important months for phase 1. ठीक है, तो ये 5 months और 9 months का फंडा समझ आ गया हो तो हम आगे चलते हैं. और in current affairs को the number of days that I am telling you or I am requesting you to cover is finance current affairs in 4 days, that is 4 × 4 16 hours, RBI notification 4 days, reports and indices 5 days, government schemes bulky lengthy 5 days, static GA 3 days, ESI current affairs 5 days, and phase 1 journal awareness 5 days. तो एक overall अच्छा प्लान है मेरे लिए करंट अफेयर्स, मेरे हिसाब से करंट अफेयर्स के लिए. इफ यू कैन अडॉप्ट दिस, एग्जीक्यूट दिस by little bit of customization that you might require at your side, this can do wonders for you. Now we will discuss about these components one by one in detail कि पढ़ना कैसे है. ठीक है, इतने महीनों का पढ़ना, इतने दिनों में पढ़ना है, but what are the points that are to be thought upon, that should be considered so that these components of current affairs can be covered effectively. तो उसके बारे में बात करें. फिनांस करंट अफेयर्स में सबसे पहले, if you are from a paid course, you can cover the section finance current affairs in the monthly magazine. Otherwise, even if you are doing self preparation, you need to read news by SEBI related to capital markets and regulations, then any committee and committees and recommendations by SEBI or Ministry of Finance, any mergers in the banking sector, any app launches by the banks are very, very important, right? Any initiatives and milestones reached by public sector banks, they can also be asked. Public sector banks keep on taking a lot of initiatives, and union budget and economic survey are anyways important because exam is near to the time when they were released. तो उस हिसाब से ये अभी भी important है. Now coming on to the RBI notification, see, here is a screenshot from March notifications in front of you. Now the common mistake which people do is they start reading every notification that is available on the RBI website. ठीक है, अगर आप paid course में हैं, so we are already filtering out the relevant notifications in the document that you need to read. But in case you are doing self preparation, please note that you have to read only the regulations and not the normal updates or the procedural updates. For example, here in front of you, all the notifications of March are there. Now, notifications like implementation of section UAPA, this is totally absurd. Exim Bank, Government of India supported line of credit to the government of Sri Lanka. No, that's not required. Then annual closing of government accounts, this is not required. All these are normal procedural updates, like, or you can say these are the updates which are done every month or every quarter. Now the actual regulations are framework for tagging of payment system touch points. You open this, you will understand what it is, but at the outset itself it looks like there is a framework or a regulation that has been released by RBI. ठीक है. Then Master Direction, Reserve Bank of India, framework for microfinance loans. Again, it is something related to framework or the regulation related to microfinance. This is important. तो इस चीज को ध्यान रखते ही कीजिएगा. And another point that I would like to tell you is that refer newspapers for quick coverage. So when you open some notification, sometimes what happens is that those notifications are very lengthy on the RBI website. तो आप उसको अच्छे से जल्दी से कवर करने के लिए यू कैन सर्च दोज नोटिफिकेशंस ऑन इन न्यूज़पेपर्स लाइक हिंदू और लाइमन. सो व्हाट आई विल डू इज आई विल कॉपी दिस लाइन, framework for geo tagging of payment system touch points, put that on Google, and I'll write plus the Hindu, so it will take me to this news covered in the Hindu newspaper, and there it would be covered in a very terse manner, but all the important points would be covered there. Okay, so that is about RBI notifications. Now coming on the reports and indices. Now there are many reports and indices which are being covered on various websites or UPSC magazines. If you are part of a paid course, we are already providing you monthly magazine by filtering the relevant reports. But in case you are doing self preparation, you need to basically use this 3-point filter formula. What is this 3-point filter formula? First is reports mapping to the syllabus. Read only those reports which are related to your syllabus. For example, if there is a report on IT industry, media industry, entertainment industry, manufacturing industry, are these relevant to your syllabus? No, these are not part of your syllabus. But if there are reports related to health and education, poverty, economy, finance, all these are important for you because they map to your syllabus. ठीक है? तो इसीलिए मैंने कहा था पहली स्लाइड में that understanding the syllabus, understanding the scope of the exam is very, very important. Then the second point is that whatever reports are related to your syllabus, even within them, try to read the reports by only international organizations or national organizations of stature. बड़े बड़े जो नाम हैं उन्हीं की reports पूछी जाती हैं, such as UN, UNICEF, IMF, World Economic Forum, OECD, WTO, World Bank, नीति आयोग, RBI, Ministry of Finance. उन्हीं organizations की reports पर ज़्यादा stress दीजिए. And the third is, again, if you are finding that any report on the website of any ministry or maybe from wherever you are reading from UPSC magazine or something is very vast, then you can cover them from the newspaper. Say if there is report on gender disparity in India by UN, I'm just assuming that there is no such report as of now. So UN report on gender disparity in India, you want to search in a newspaper, then write plus the Hindu, and it will take you the main points, the mood points of that report that would be covered in Hindu. Sir, would all the questions could be attempted from what we will read in these newspapers? The answer is yes and no. See, when you're saving your time, you're taking risk. But I think this risk is worth taking if you're really short on time. Now, with respect to government schemes, you need to understand that you need not read any old scheme which people will tell you. Okay, start reading schemes from 1990 or 1950. No, you need to read schemes which are in news, media, or PIB for the past 9 months, right? और 5 months for phase 1. तो जो भी schemes news में है, मीडिया में है, PIB पे है, वही पढ़नी है. Now they might not be launched, they might not be updated, but maybe there is an update on PIB that through this scheme 9 crore farmers have benefited till now. अब इस ये न्यूज में सिर्फ ये बताया है कि अभी तक कितने फार्मर्स इस स्कीम से बेनिफिट हो गए हैं. ना तो स्कीम में कोई चेंज है, ना ही ये नई न्यूली लॉन्च स्कीम है, बट इट कैन बी आस्क्ड इन द पेपर बिकॉज नाउ इट हैज बिकम इन न्यूज व्हेन इट हैज बीन कवर्ड इन द न्यूज़पेपर, मीडिया और PIB. ठीक है. एंड अगेन रीड स्कीम्स ओनली रिलेटेड टू योर सिलेबस. देयर आर सम एक्सेप्शंस. टॉपिक्स लाइक रेल, road, water, housing, insurance, social justice are not in your syllabus, but somehow they are part of human development, which is anyways in your syllabus. तो इन ministries की भी schemes पढ़ लेना. And if you talk about the important dimensions of scheme, then the ministry who has launched it, you should know that. You should know the launch year of that scheme. You should know the funding pattern of that scheme, whether it is launched by center or whether it is funded by center or state government. Then the recent budget allocation. What are the objectives? What that scheme wants to achieve, who are the target beneficiaries, if it is a state scheme, which state has launched that scheme, and what are the current developments. As I told you, if through some scheme 9 crore farmers have benefited, they can ask you how many farmers have got benefited from this scheme. ठीक है. तो गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स को इसी तरह पढ़ना है जिस तरह मैं समझा रहा हूँ. You will be able to cover them in very less time, unlike others who might spend even 6 months, but till the time they're not clear what is asked in the exam, they will never be able to cover them effectively. Now coming to the static GA. Static GA is very vast, right? Wildlife parks, national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, states, capitals, currencies, I mean you name it and it would come under static GA. But would you be able to cover and remember so much of data? The answer is no, impossible. And if you analyze the previous year papers, what comes our way is that static GA, what is asked in the exam, is derived from current GA. What do I mean when I say is derived from current GA? For example, this was the question in the last year paper, that Tasokar Lake is located at which of the following places. Now this might look like a question from static GA, but why the location of Tasokar Lake was asked? Because Tasokar Lake just 3 months before your exam was added to the list of Ramsar sites. That Tasokar Lake was in news 3 months before your exam. Exam was in around March and this news was in December 25, 2020. So therefore something which is in news can lead to a question in the static GA. Similarly, say now the war is going between Ukraine and Russia, they can ask you about the capital or the currencies of these countries or the neighboring countries of these countries. Now there were recent elections in Punjab or UP, they can ask you about the number of seats in these states, legislative seats in these states. तो इसी तरह static GA आपकी current से ही derive होगी. Coming on to ESI current affairs, well in ESI mostly reports and schemes are asked, but apart from that there can be other news. Say government of Kerala gets into an alliance with United Nations for girls education, something on those lines. So read news related to economy and social issues, again by mapping them to your syllabus. And then coming to phase 1 general awareness, which is like books, authors, sports, themes, science and tech, person in news, summit, conferences, defense, cyclones, manufacturing hubs and logistic park, famous awards. ठीक है. All these which is normal current affair asked in banks like IBPSP or SBIPO, anyways you need to cover, but you need to cover them only for 5 months because these are not asked in phase 2. phase 2 में ये नहीं पूछे जाते. So I hope by this identification of different components of current affairs and how to cover them, you will get a very good idea कि आपको कैसे proceed करना है. जो लोग पेड कोर्स से प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं, this you will get under finance current affairs in your magazine. There is a different document for RBI notifications, there is a different document for reports on monthly basis, there is a different document by the name schemes tab on monthly basis. For this static G anyways derive ही रहता है. This is covered through ESI section in the monthly current affairs magazine, and this is covered through GA section in the monthly current affairs magazine. So that was about current affairs. Now moving on to the last part of our next 60 days plan is FM, for which I have allocated 12 days, right, into 4 hours, that is 48 hours. Can the FM be completed in these 48 hours? Yes and no, but at least you should give it a try. ठीक है. अब पढ़ना कैसे है, देखिए मैनेजमेंट में काफ़ी लोग पूछते हैं सर क्या पढ़ें क्या छोड़ें. माय आंसर इज सिंपल दैट मैनेजमेंट इज सो सिंपल एंड सो स्कोरिंग. यू कैन नॉट अफोर्ड टू लीव एनीथिंग इन मैनेजमेंट. अगर आपके मैनेजमेंट में भी मतलब 50 नंबर में से 30 नंबर है, यू विल नेवर बी एबल टू मेक इट. सो हमें सारा कुछ करना है. दैट्स अ सिंपल थ्योरी. रीड इट वंस ट्वाइस थ्राइस, यू विल बी थॉरो विद मैनेजमेंट. And in case you are reading from the paid courses, maybe you can skip the videos, just follow the notes. That also can be sufficient for you. In finance, yes, the syllabus is very vast, but it is manageable, and more importantly, the finance which is asked in RBI Grade B is general. It is not core finance like income statement, balance sheet, cash flows and PV. नहीं, वैसा नहीं पूछते हैं. Simple finance पूछते हैं. But yes, it is vast, it might be time consuming. So for now I am suggesting that you at least read these chapters, because these are the most important chapters. By covering these chapters, you can at least cover 80% of your questions asked in the static part. Primary and secondary markets, risk management, inflation, derivatives, functions of RBI, monetary and fiscal policy, and who regulates what. Every year there is a question on who regulates what, तो आप इसको अच्छे से कर लें. who regulates NBFC, RBI, who regulates capital markets, SEBI. ऐसे करके जिन जिन रेगुलेटर्स का डिफरेंट डिफरेंट एम्बिट है, बी क्लियर अबाउट दैट. ठीक है. नाउ इन योर कोर्स, इफ यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर फ्रॉम आवर कोर्सेज, देन माइंड मैप्स एंड समरी शीट्स कैन बी लेफ्ट आउट राइट नाउ बिकॉज यू विल नॉट हैव टाइम. एंड द की पॉइंट इज दैट व्हेन यू रीड मैनेजमेंट एंड फाइनेंस, डोंट only focus on recognition, focus on recall also, because when you do descriptive questions, you will be asked questions for which you will have to recall things. You will not be able to recognize because there would not be any options in the descriptive part. ठीक है. और न्यूमेरिकल पे फाइनेंस में बिल्कुल फोकस ना करें. टाइम कम है तो ऐसी चीजें अवॉइड करेंगे हम अगेन, सो एज टू गेट मैक्सिमम वैल्यू फॉर आवर एफर्ट. ठीक है. सो गाइज, ये प्लान मैंने आपको इलेबोरेट किया है. ट्राई टू कस्टमाइज इट एज पर योर रिक्वायरमेंट्स, बट मोटा मोटा मैंने आपको बता दिया है. और इस चीज की बिल्कुल टेंशन ना लें, अभी आपको ये बिल्कुल नहीं करना है. इफ यू गेट कंफ्यूज बिटवीन कि मुझे फेज 2 की तैयारी भी अभी करनी है डिटेल में, फेज 1 की भी करनी है स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम द स्क्रैच, आई मीन दैट्स रियली इम्पॉसिबल टू डू. ठीक है. हमारी कुछ लिमिटेशंस हैं, हमें उन्हें समझना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. तो जो मैंने इधर लिखा है आप उसकी टेंशन ना लें. आई एम देयर. इफ यू क्लियर फेज 1, वी विल पुट आवर डे इन एंड डे आउट टू मेक यू एक्सपर्ट इन डिस्क्रिप्टिव राइटिंग, डिस्क्रिप्टिव इंग्लिश एंड ESI. ठीक है. और अगेन जैसा कि मैंने आपको बताया कि ये हम अपने RBI के भी पेड कोर्सेज में वी आर डूइंग लाइव प्रैक्टिस सेशंस. वी आर फॉलोइंग द सेम शेड्यूल जो मैंने अभी आपको बताया, जहां पे वी आर गिविंग डेली टारगेट्स विथ फोकस एरियाज. कि आपने मोटिवेशन पढ़ना है, इस पे फोकस करना है, ये पूरा करना है. क्वांट पढ़ना है, इस पे फोकस करना है, ये पूरा करने हैं. देन फॉर डेली टारगेट्स वी आर डूइंग लाइव प्रैक्टिस सेशंस विच आई कॉल डेली मॉनिटरिंग. आपने कर लिया, बट आपको पता कैसे लगेगा कि आपने ठीक किया, गलत किया, वेयर डू यू स्टैंड विद रिस्पेक्ट टू योर पीयर्स. दैट कैन बी टेस्टेड टू थ्रू daily monitoring, where we will be solving questions live for around 2 hours, so that you get to practice what you have learned that day, you get to apply what you have learned that day, and there would also be doubt resolution on daily basis through these live sessions, ताकि कुछ भी ऐसा ना रह जाए जहां पे आपको दिक्कत हो. ठीक है. तो लाइव प्रैक्टिस सेशन का शेड्यूल, the detailed schedule for the first 60 days, that is till phase 1, is there in the description of this video. तो पेड कोर्सेज वालों को वो सारा उसके थ्रू प्रैक्टिस करवाई जाएगी. बट इन केस यू आर डूइंग सेल्फ प्रिपरेशन, देयर इज नथिंग टू वरी. यू कैन ऑल्सो फॉलो द सेम शेड्यूल. द ओनली डिफरेंस इज दैट यू विल नॉट गेट लाइव प्रैक्टिस सेशंस, बट एटलीस्ट द चैप्टर्स, द डे वाइज टारगेट्स, यू कैन ऑल्सो प्लान योर प्रिपरेशन लाइक दैट. तो उस शेड्यूल को जरूर देखें. और इन केस ऑफ सेल्फ प्रिपरेशन ऑल्सो यू कैन फॉलो दैट शेड्यूल, एंड यू कैन रियली फील द डिफरेंस दैट हाउ डज इट increases to know more productivity when you are having daily targets in your kitty. और एंड में बताना चाहूंगा, वी आर ऑल्सो रनिंग स्पेशल ऑफर फॉर RBI सेल. सो right now we are running flat 40 plus additional 10% off, so which is around I think 46% off. So you can use coupon code RBI. ये आपको नहीं दिख रहा होगा शायद, it might be coming behind me, so I will write the code here. The code is pretty simple, RBI, that's it, right? And it is valid from 28th March to 30th of March. आपको ये भी नहीं दिख रहा है, so I'll tell you 28th March से ये शुरू है, मतलब आज से, and it is running till 30th of March. This 40 plus 10% offer, and for which the coupon code is RBI. RBI. Right, guys? So I take you leave. I hope you will be able to implement this study schedule, and you will feel the difference that when you have daily targets, you can achieve something which might seem impossible to do in 2 months, but when you start doing that on daily basis, it suddenly becomes much more realistic. It suddenly becomes much more achievable. Thank you. Bye bye. Have a nice day.